This question is going to be for you, Dominic.
Oh, Lord.
Come on. Have you gained skills in your side hustle that have now strengthened your 9 to 5 or vice versa?
I'll go back to my military days. So my military days pretty much gave me kind of like the backbone that I have now. The time management, my communication skills, pretty much that. And then I've been able to apply that to my side hustle. You probably don't see much of me because I'm behind the scenes, but that allows me to be able to talk to a lot of people that you probably won't normally see people. But I mean, that's about it. Just really the communication part. If it wasn't for that, I wouldn't, been able to step in front of the people that we've been able to establish with today. Shut up, Trey. Shut up.
This is for any of the panelists. If someone wanted to follow a similar path that you have, what would you recommend they study or practice or pursue early career-wise?
I would first say dabble in a little bit of everything. Even if it was just to go to college for a semester, try that out. If it is to go to the military, try that out. Just learn those life skills that you won't get if you don't, because each of those different avenues is going to teach you something different that you're going to be able to use in your life to make you who you are.
Yeah. I would say if you want to go to college, I would say get into social work, and I am a social work advocate, but a lot of us that get into social work, a lot of our skills are transferable, so you might become a social worker, but then you end up being in a whole different industry. If you don't want to go to college, I would say find your village in your community and just start being active, so finding volunteer and passion projects that you really like, and just dabble kind of in everything until you find what sticks to you.
So I would definitely agree with that, as well as customer service. So in any industry, it doesn't matter where you're going, whether you go to college or you take a trade or you start a business, customer service, hospitality is something that is large, and it's something that a lot of people lack. So being able to speak to people, being able to understand where people are coming from, being able to be a listening ear without lacking empathy. You don't always have to sympathize with somebody, but you should always have empathy for somebody or what they are going through, because you never know who walks in front of you who could be going through something one day, but they could be the biggest person that you've ever met the next. And so customer service, hospitality, that's the biggest thing.
I would say try everything, because you just never know. If somebody would have told me 10 years ago I'll be in the health and wellness industry, I would say you're lying. But trying everything, and I love what I do now, so just try everything. Like she said, customer service will get you some places that you never thought you would be. Just knowing how to show up, appreciate, acknowledge people for who they are and what they stand for, and not being biased, because it definitely has got me into some rooms. And just being transparent, be transparent. Do you, regardless of what the masses think is what the norm is. Go outside of the norm. Trust me, you'll go further.
I would tell people to find out what you're good at and build from that. We're often taught to go to college, get a good job, and then you end up somewhere you don't want to be. So find out what you're good at, go from that. Get mentorship, ask questions. Don't be afraid to get help. If I had mentors probably 5 years ago, I'd probably be a lot further. So just ask questions, go where you're comfortable at, and then, get help.
Thank you. So to tie, just like we did with the first group, we're gonna tie it back to Grandparents' Day since we are celebrating Grandparents' Day this weekend. How does your work in your 9 to 5 or your 5 to 9 differ from the careers that your grandparents or your parents had?
So, I am the very first entrepreneur in my family, to the point where when I told my family that I was starting a business, they told me that I should go to college instead and get a degree. Majority of my family are nurses. My grandfather was in the military, retired from the military, went to Boeing, and was an engineer for years before he retired. My grandmother was a homemaker. And so being an entrepreneur to my family was something that was taboo. And even in my success in both having a business, running a business, and having a nonprofit, my family still is like, you should go get a nursing degree. You should find you a backup. But this is my backup, because there's no need to find a plan B when you just continue to make plan A work. There's no reason to say, oh, I'm gonna stop with plan A and focus on plan B. As long as you keep your mind on plan A, there's no need for a plan B. And so that's why mine's differs.
So I didn't grow up with grandparents. I've never experienced it, and then both my parents passed away at a very young age. What I do remember from my dad is he was kind of in and out of a job, but what I do remember and what people tell me is like he was an entrepreneur, and so I feel like I have that spirit that he gave on to me to be an entrepreneur. My dad was a food and beverage manager for as long as I could remember, and so I just never seen a man love food and beverage so much, and like so that's what I remember of him. But I also remember him like connecting to restaurant managers, and like he might have had jobs, but he kept a job. And so I do remember that. My mom, she was in accounts payable. She only had an education of a GED. She wanted to be accountant, but I think she tried college for like a semester and was like, yeah, we're gonna go ahead and hit out. So she did that up until she passed away. And so for me, I was the first person to have the real college experience, and I ain't gonna lie to y'all, I only went to college out of peer pressure. My life dream was to work at a grocery store and scan some fruits and vegetables. I had no high aspirations, and so I went to college out of homelessness and just out of just figuring out life. And I ended up finding my voice and finding what I like to do. Turns out I'm really good at speaking in front of people. Yeah, so we're here. So I guess that's my comparison to my parents.
Well, I only had one grandparent, but she was already retired by the time I was born. But one thing I really took to heart was what my mama told me. We really didn't come from much, but she told me, if you want it, then go get it. And I literally took that to heart and I ran with it. I mean, first ones to have that I bought 6 cars by myself. At that time, my mom wasn't even really driving yet. She didn't even get her driver's license until she was probably in her mid 40s or 50s. I went to college only because I saw her go back to college when I was in high school. So we ended up graduating at the same time. So she graduated college, and then I graduated high school at the same time. And so that just really drove me for who I am now. So if I want it, I go get it. Just how I'm in nursing school right now, I seen my aunt go through the same thing. I wanted it, so now I'm in it. I wanted a house, so I went and got it. I wanted a certain car, and I went and got that certain car. So if it wasn't for that, there's no telling who I would have been.
So my grandparents actually could not read nor write. My grandma was a CNA, don't know how they hired her because she can't read or write. My grandpa's a blues singer, so with that being said, he's never punched a time clock a day in his life. So I've always had someone to look up to who came from nothing and accomplished so much. So I'm like, how can I not achieve my goals or be a first-time entrepreneur when I've seen my grandpa, who can't even spell his name on paper, selling out shows and being on tour in countries I can't even pronounce. So I think seriously. So I think my grandparents just having the lack of resources and the lack of education and accomplishing so much played into me being an entrepreneur, me knowing that I could do a lot more since I have resources and since I have education.
Okay, so my grandmother, she was in the hospitality business, working in hotels, cleaning rooms. My grandfather, he owned a trucking company. My dad, he was a huge drug dealer. And then he tried to flip his money, but I think it was a little too late. He started him a trucking company. He did good. He made big money, but he couldn't leave the streets alone. My mother always been in like customer service. She the one that's gonna play it safe. Let me go to this, punch this clock. I know I'm gonna bring home this amount of money. Me, I was the first to go to college in my family. I've been in management pretty much all my life up until 2013. That's when I decided to leave corporate America and come and not necessarily be an entrepreneur. I left corporate America because my children, both of my children are ADHD, and I was trying to get them through therapy, and my job told me, because I was in management, that they needed me, but my kids needed me, so I left them. Didn't know what I was gonna do, worked out, I just left, never had a dream of being an entrepreneur, but then later, I left them in September of 2013, and then I started becoming an entrepreneur. I went into the insurance industry. It's been a great journey. My family thought I was crazy, but I also tell them I take the biggest risk. That's why I make the most money. So if you're gonna bet on somebody, bet on yourself. Okay, nobody do what you gonna do. And they cannot dictate your future. They were trying to dictate my future. I chose otherwise. I'm going to take my own life into my own hands. So, yeah, but that's what. So I got a little bit of entrepreneur from my grandfather and my dad, but that wasn't all that great. I took the legal way.
Thank you guys for sharing. Let's do a round of applause for our panelists. So we did have to cut our second session a little short. We have to leave it here at 3 o'clock. But wanted to see if any of you guys could leave our educators, our students, and parents with any advice as they're looking to go into either their 9-to-5 career or their 5 to 9.
Like I said previously, bet on you. Don't let anyone tell you what you cannot do, because you can achieve anything you set out to be. If they telling you that you can't, that ain't the room for you. Move on. God telling you, go another way. So just keep that in mind.
So my advice is for the parents. Always support your child. No matter what they decide to do, don't ever tell them that they can't do it. Always be open to their ideas and their thoughts, because you are the first person that is their fan. So everything that you tell them, every way that you act towards them, that is what they see, that is what they carry with them for the rest of their life. And that can dictate their future. Not just their choices, but your choice in being a part of their life.
So my organization has a quote, and it goes by, I love you the way you love the world. All that energy you put into the world, go ahead and turn back around and put it into yourself. And so I would encourage everybody to do that. When you wake up every morning, make sure you're loving yourself first. And then also too, we live in a very busy world where it can get hectic, we can be running. Just learn to be present. I often tell myself, take it day by day, and when that's too fast, take it minute by minute.
First thing first, just put God first. Bottom line, put him first through everything you do, no matter what. If you're struggling, put him first. If you don't know what to do, put them first. And then I heard this quote earlier from the panel discussion, but I want to give you the full quote and kind of explain to you for a little bit. It says, "A jack of all trades is a master of none, but oftentimes better than a master of one." Amen. So when we're going to use that quote, let's say the full quote, because just because I'm a jack and this, that, and that diversified me to do anything. So you might be a master in just, putting down tile, but I'm a master of putting down a tile, building the walls, doing the plumbing, doing the electrician work. So don't limit yourself for what you want to do. So don't be afraid to go out and do other things that come to your mind.
Okay, yeah. That's for me. In conclusion, I would say just take your time. I feel like we're always rushing through life. We have these invincible clocks above our head telling us we got to do this by this age and have this by this date. You write your own story. Take your time. Don't compare yourself. Your journey is unique. Your journey is your own. So take your time figuring it out. All right. Wow.